This is Earl Amin with the 2020 Foresight Podcast, where CEOs of mid-sized companies share their insights. It is 6 questions in 9 minutes because top CEOs know how to listen and be concise. So let's get to it. Question number 1. In just a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
My name is Danny Tomsett. I'm the CEO of a fantastic company called UneeQ Digital Humans, which is all about creating emotional connection and interactions, not transactions, in a digital world.
Wow, very concisely put and very effectively stated. I get it. All right, question number 2. What's the best thing about being the CEO?
I think what I love about being a CEO is ultimately, for me, it's about waking up with purpose. It's been a big part of my life's journey as I've worked in various companies and founded a number of companies. And in particular for UneeQ Digital Humans and what we're doing, to wake up every morning and have the privilege of building something that aligns to my values and my vision is a real privilege. And I love that about being a CEO, to build teams, to build products, and to build relationships right across an ecosystem of investors and other CEOs and technology companies and like-minded individuals. I think is an absolute privilege, as I said, and what I love the most about it.
Excellent. Question number 3. Now, I hear from other CEOs that leading their team and being able to see what lies ahead can be a challenge. What are your thoughts?
It certainly can. I think it's the old saying, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. And
Yes.
I think the nature of startup, and in particular in my world of technology startup, uncertainty comes hand in hand with that domain. And in fact, it's one of the exciting and fun parts of a startup is the uncertainty. And actually part of, I guess, being a good CEO and even how I've managed to, I guess, progress my own mental health around being a startup CEO is to embrace the journey, to embrace the uncertainty, to look at it as a fun challenge and really go after that. And then I think ultimately when you're trying to build a team in an element of uncertainty, you're really looking for people around you that thrive in that as well. And I think that helps keep the energy high. It also helps bring the right skill set for people who know how to look at the data that you can extract and really set up the right kind of focus for a company to be able to build as much certainty as you can. You're constantly trying to find that product market fit, that certainty, that data that helps you get closer and closer to those goals and that success. And I think naturally, there's a certain skill set and personality type that thrives in that. And so building a good team around that really helps. And so that for me is definitely, what I love about startup is dealing with that challenge. And never more so have we been in more uncertain times. And with that, there's so much that is not in your control. And I think you have to recognize that each day you can only do the things that you think are best, that you work with your team on strategies and you just progress that, and you take the wins each day at a time, each milestone at a time. And before you know it, you reflect back on a year and you actually feel quite proud of what you achieve. And I love, that part of obviously our company and many companies that are very similar, I'm sure.
Awesome. Question number 4. What piece of insight do you want to share with other CEOs, which I think you've somewhat done?
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the biggest lessons for me. And maybe if I term it this way, is really about enjoying the journey. The trickiest thing I think I've personally had to manage, and I'm sure that others in a similar situation, is that you're so driven towards those goals, the vision that you're trying to bring into reality. But a lot of these things, as I just mentioned earlier, are not always in your control. There are elements of market timing and all sorts of other third-party factors that can determine your success or failure. Some people call it luck. It doesn't really matter what you call it. We all know that you can't control every outcome. And I think as a CEO, I think you can get bogged down sometimes with being so obsessed with, well, at least for me, I was so obsessed with the success. It was the next funding milestone. It was the next big, financial outcome that we were looking to get. And throughout each day and throughout the period between those big milestones and those big goals and big successes, there was so much what I would call privileged experience that you're having in that time. Like you're dealing with fires sometimes. I get that, right? But in that, you're solving problems, you're building relationships, you're traveling and meeting amazing other people and leaders, and that's the journey. I think that once I got my mindset around the fact that I can't control every outcome, but I can enjoy the journey, I can actually recognize the privilege of what it is to be a CEO, the privilege to have investors want to fund my business, my vision, my dreams, and be excited about the same thing. And that
Awesome.
Every day is to be enjoyed. And that just
Sure.
changed my mental state significantly.
Sure.
And that's what I'd love to share.
Well, question number 5, what other successful CEOs like yourself would you like to acknowledge and should be on my podcast?
So there's many great CEOs that I admire and wish I could be a lot more like, to be honest. But I think one person I would definitely call out would be Simon Arkell. He is based in West Coast, Orange County. And he is a particular individual that has had a big influence on me, both personally and professionally. Someone with an incredible career from an athlete, an Olympian athlete, all the way through to a founder in predictive software technology and successfully exiting. And he's currently the president and co-founder of a company called Deeplands. But what Simon does incredibly well is the way that he has so much to offer, so much experience, is incredibly talented, but carries this amazing humility with him, and makes you feel very important, as unimportant as you are on the standard of what he's achieved in his life. He makes you feel very important in the room. And I love being around those people, and he invigorates and energizes anyone that spends time with him. And I think that's a very special attribute.
Excellent. Question number 6, the final question. How do you celebrate a win?
So for me, as our company, celebrating wins is really important. We've definitely done it in all sorts of styles, and more recent times with lockdown and different kind of levels around the globe. We've had to kind of get a bit more creative, sending champagne to people's houses and all those kind of things. But definitely, making sure we celebrate wins and doing it in a way where we get people together, whether it's on video, whether it's, in locations. For me personally, often it's funny, I have this favorite bottle of wine. It's a Pinot Noir, and it's called Mount Difficulty, and it's from Central Otago in New Zealand, if you can't pick up on the accent. And it's Mount Difficulty, and often, it's definitely these big milestones, these successes don't come easy, as we've talked about. And so it's always nice to sit, drink my favorite wine, and reflect on what we've done.
Outstanding. Danny, it's been a great pleasure having you on. Tell us, how can people find you?
So easiest way to find us is digitalhumans.com. Our company is always keen to talk to anyone that's looking at how do they solve problems where they want to connect with their customers in a more human way through digital channels. So it's very exciting, and we'd love to talk further.